Hi everyone, my name is Della Phillips. I'm an artist among other things, and I'm also known as the Bicycle Lady. How you doing today? I'm doing great. This is part 2 of my sketchbook tour, and this is where we left off. I'm going to speed this up this time with a little bit less explanations, okay? Hopefully you'll like it, that it takes a little bit less time. Here's from Inktober. It's, I call them our micro dogs. They're a gecko. Here's practice of an outline drawing of cherries. And then this was another prompt called Patch. And since I like hot air balloons, I went ahead and did that. And then this is the same cherries, only transferred over and shaded as part of a shading exercise in practice. Okay. And this here is a piece of fried chicken. Remind me of extra crispy at one of the famous fast food restaurants. So, and the prompt was crispy. This, I'm sure you can tell, is a pear. I believe it was a Bartlett pear. And this here is a stylized spark plug. It kind of is a little bit off here. And normally, the common spark plugs you see today has threads down here, but I have seen a few that went into like two-stroke engines like that. Here I was beginning my study of amaryllis because I was going to do a color pencil painting of it, which I did. And then here was another prompt talking about being connected, so I did an outlet with a wall plug. Here's a better version of the amaryllis bud I've shaded up. I like that far better. And then a prompt from Inktober, it was Splat. So I thought of doing a cartoon of a guy going face first into a brick wall. And then here is a contour line drawing practice of my soup cup with a spoon handle sticking out. And then here is actually from a stuffed bird, because this is extinct, known as the dodo. You can see them in some of the natural history museums, some of them, not all of them. I believe their feathers have faded if you look at the reference from Audubon. Okay. And here is some more practice of tomatoes with shading. The prompt here was leak, so I thought of an old faucet. And I tried to bring in a weathered wall look. And then another practice of a tomato, which kind of goes along with this one here. And I actually kind of like that a little bit better, although I think it should need a little bit more value change there. What do you think? Let me know. Maybe a little bit up there. But very good still, even if I do say so myself. And here's another prompt called Open. I always thought of this cottage, old stone cottage with the door open looking out. And that's what that is. Contour line drawing of some drawing and erasers that was on my tabletop. I think you can tell everything. Click eraser, that was a flat click that I got off Amazon. That's kind of interesting, from Japan. Then you've seen that before, the paper wrapped eraser, a mechanical pencil, and then the infamous mono eraser, and a little piece of a bigger eraser that slowly used up. And this one was again Inktober, and I believe it's fuzzy, so I did a tennis ball. Here I was practicing contour line drawing. I still having some trouble with getting the oval correct at the right angle, so the perspective is good. It got better here, but really finally got it on that try. I'm going to keep on working on that. Then this is a drawing of Arrow Garden pot. I have one with a little sprout coming out. I believe that's a tomato. And then this one here, which I am going to actually do all this and practice watercolor with my Winsor Newton watercolors I got and did an unboxing for on a card of a daffodil. And then Inktober again, and it was loop, so I thought of breast cancer awareness ribbon. And this is the first time I've ever done a horse. I was watching on YouTube, Getting Sketchy, and they were doing a horse, and I decided to draw along with it. I think I did pretty darn good, being first time and all. Probably better if I could see horses directly in person when I'm doing this, but I'm pretty proud of that. Then Inktober, where they were talking about moon, and granted, normally you would have all this here blacked out, but I didn't feel like using the ink up on it, so I just put where the tops of the pines kind of up against the moon and left the rest white. Here I was practicing by putting before 4 lines, sketching out, maybe getting a little more accuracy and proportion, but I still got it off of a hibiscus. And normally it would have been seen like this. And this here should have come down more, like around here. Right now it's a little bit too squared off. But that's the reason why I do things in sketchbooks to practice. Here is another Inktober for talking about collide, and this is where 2 atoms collide if you're looking on a particle film, which is the older way of doing it, and you look through a big stereoscope, and that's what you would see, where you have the 2 atoms collide and then the particles making tracings in the film. Here was a practice, contour line practice of a bird. I think it's an Australian bird. I have to go back and look. It was a reference from Splash. And I accidentally got when I did this Inktober, is of a compass. I did that from the top of my head without a reference. Probably could tell that. And then this here is actually my effort of, let me grab this here, of this brass statue. And actually, this is a bit of a collector's because this statue says from Korea, which is before they split. So it's before the Korean War when that was made. A little bit off. Still, I think I did a decent job with the contour line. And then Inktober was helmet. And I just couldn't, being a Star Wars fans, I just couldn't pass up doing a Stormtrooper helmet. Right? And then here's some random contour practice drawings, maybe with a little bit of shading thrown in, of various objects, especially those that had rounded features, like this here, that, the tape, the volatile candle holder in a little storage container. And then Inktober had tick. I thought, you know, who hasn't used a metronome if you were learning piano and keeping time and so forth? So there's a metronome. Another type of daffodil. I believe the other one would be called a jonquil besides a daffodil, but the different varieties. This one has a little more shorter trumpet and fatter and shorter petals. And then this one here is the Inktober again. This is more or less from my imagination. You probably could tell that, no reference. And it was roof, and I thought of an old, dilapidated roof from an ancient building, stone building. Now here, it was my effort of drawing a rosebud. I'm very much improved, I believe, and happy with this. So, I believe I'm going to be turning this into a card as well. Transfer that over in practice watercoloring on a card. And this one here is what I remember in childhood. We grew up in Indiana, and in low-lying areas on clay, I was out with my little red boots more than once and got them stuck in the mud. And there are times, if they're so stuck, you have to leave the boot behind and make it in. And then you come back out when the mud isn't totally hard, but harder than it was, and dig out your boot. And then here's some practice containers. Contour line drawing with circles. This is a bit off a little bit. I still liked it, and that's the reason why I did it that way. Medicine jar. Another, I believe, salt container is what that was. And of course, a glass spray cleaner bottle. And then here, it said sour, and I did a little ink drawing and practice of a lime. I've been doing some lemons as well, and I'm finishing up a color pencil painting of lemons, and I'll show that to you in due time. And then here's some more practice of household items. My sharpener from a different view, and a wood box, the riser puck, a hydrogen peroxide bottle, and then I really liked I got this very, very symmetrical. Not quite perfect, but very good, and I'm happy with that. The horseradish little glass pot. And then here, this one came from memory as well, of Pick, and that was from Inktober. Then here, being economical with my paper and so forth, I did some more practice of pears. I may have that as part of a still life, so I'm practicing that as well as apples and a couple other fruits coming up. And I like that. This was of a red one, and this is a Bartlett pear. Okay. And here, this was Inktober pressure, so I thought of pressure valves. I did use a reference on that one. And see, here's your pressure valve. And then this is a practice of a traditional still life, where you have the wine bottle with either a wine stem glass or a wine tumbler. A little bit off here, but still good practice. Here is a watch. Pretty much done from memory. I'm thinking of a pocket watch. And then here's another practice of like a Red Delicious apple. Some of them can have this elongated here. I don't know. Maybe I should have shortened it up a bit. I'll try different ways. Okay. And then here, I remember we had one of these growing up. It was up on the refrigerator so it could help blow the air out the windows in the kitchen. And it was black and exactly like this. Now, granted, the blaze probably was a bit more robust here, but I still like that a lot. It brings back memories. Then here's a practice, a contour line drawing practice of a hammer, one of the tools I had out. And then Inktober again, and this is I used a picture from, it was online. It was a royalty free. It's of one of the ravens at the Tower of London. Now this one is another apple. It is a Red Delicious. I have an artificial Red Delicious apples that I use sometimes for props. The value is not as deep as really it should be, but I think it gives you good contrast. And I feel that was a great exercise. I like, since it was at a different type of angle, but I believe I did capture that well. Then here is a olive wood cross that I have, and I did that in ink for Inktober. It's for Spirit. Here's another practice of an item on my desk that I have oftentimes, the thermal steel cup that I have, or glass. And then Inktober had another one. It was not, so I had to do it then knot in a rope. I did come up with a, was it Unsplash or Pixel Day? I'd have to go back and look. And then here is a Bartlett pear with the artificial Red Delicious apple. I'm fairly pleased with it because you're looking more or less this way at it. And then another one pretty much from memory. I can see here, this is off here to here. Hey, it just pretty much, and over here. I guess it should have been just a little bit too wide over here. But it was a prompt was a vessel, so I did that. And then this one here is, of course, hamburger and fries. Actually, a premium hamburger and fries. I actually did this from a picture on Pixabay. I changed the hamburger a bit to my liking. It still has the cheese and so forth on it, because still am not getting out so easily to go to some of the upscale hamburger restaurants. And then that's the end of it. That was the first prompt, which was suit. Alright, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And until next time, take care.